Hello everyone, Steve Gage here, NASM certified personal trainer and co-owner of Engage Fitness. Today we're going to go over some rotator cuff stretches and just some exercises to warm up that rotator cuff and get that shoulder mobile and active just the way we want to. So what the rotator cuff is it's four muscles that make up the rotator cuff, which is located right behind that shoulder, interconnecting with that shoulder blade. And what the rotator cuff does is it helps stabilize that shoulder when it's in that unstable position. It's not locked into that joint. So anytime we're feeling that the shoulder's kind of floating around in any position, we're having either a dumbbell or just putting something on the top shelf, we're feeling that shoulder staying in that stable position. That's the job of the rotator cuff and what those four muscles do. And it's not just the rotator cuff that's involved with the shoulder, because a lot of those muscles are involved with the shoulder blade, which is located right behind the chest on the posterior part of our body. And there's also 20 muscles that interconnect with that shoulder blade. So there's a lot of working parts in that shoulder joint, and the rotator cuff is there to keep that shoulder stable. And a lot of times, especially nowadays with a lot of us being at home more, a lot of working from home, we get into that tight chest shape where everything is being pulled forward, and that rotator cuff tends to get a little tight and our shoulder and arm can't move around like it's supposed to. So a lot of these stretches you can do from home and anytime, even at your office or your workspace. And you're gonna need a couple things to start. So you're gonna need a rolled up towel, just any size towel, just as long as you can, about 1.5 to 18 inches long, rolled up in one solid roll. Any kind of surface that you can put your weight on, either it be our chair here that we're using, or any kind of counter surface, any surface that you can get a slight position bent over. And then if you want to, you can grab a small weight, because we don't want to load the rotator cuff a lot, because it's not meant to be a heavy weight muscle group. It's more for stability, so we're going to use a lighter weight on these. So our first shape we're going to get into is finding our surface. It can be a chair, as long as it's a surface that doesn't have wheels, because we want it not to roll as we put weight on it. So we're just going to hang in that shape, leaning over the surface, just allowing one arm, doesn't matter which one you start with, because we'll do both. Just allowing that arm to hang as if it's just dead weight. Just hanging there, relaxing, almost like it's jello. And we're going to use the body to create circles in that shoulder. So just using the momentum of the body to swing that shoulder. We're not actively moving the arm. We're just letting this arm hang and relax as if it's numb and we can't feel it. Just letting it relax, let that shoulder slouch forward a little bit. And just use the body to roll that shoulder around. Get all that knottiness that we feel out. Slow circles. Using the body to roll that shoulder around in circles. And we do this for 30 seconds, holding this roll position, just using the body's momentum to throw that arm around in a circle. And then we're going to pause and we're going to go in the opposite direction. So we want to make sure we're going in both directions. And again, we're not actively moving this arm, it's just there as dead weight. And we're just using the body to roll that shoulder around. Kind of creating that fluidity in that shoulder joint and relaxing the tension in that rotator cuff. So next we're going to do this similar shape. We're going to change the direction of where the arm is going. So instead of going in a circle, we're just going to have the arm go back and forth. So we're just going to switch arms, making sure we're hitting both sides. So with this, instead of going in circles, we're going to use the body to move that arm just back and forth. Again, this arm is hanging as dead weight. It's just relaxed, almost flopping around like it's jello, and just using the body to move that shoulder back and forth. Just relax. Let that shoulder hang and right, just like it's trying to get to the floor. Just letting it hang there again like dead weight. Just allowing the body to move that arm back and forth. And then we'll relax. We're doing this for 30 seconds. We're going to do each of these exercises 3 sets of 30 seconds. So that 30 seconds really allows those muscle fibers to break up and stretch and allow that mobility of that joint and muscle group. So next we're going to do the same position, but we're going to go side to side. So same thing, leaning over our surface, whether it's a chair, countertop, or bed, just something that's sturdy. So again, allowing that arm to hang loose. I'm going side to side, so using the body to move that arm side to side. Again, allowing that shoulder to drop as low as we can. And just going side to side. And again, what this does is it helps loosen up those sticky fibers that cause that rotator cuff to not move like it's supposed to. And just back and forth. Again, using the body to move the arm, letting the arm just hang and relax. And then we'll relax in this shape. So next, another thing we're going to need for this video is either a broom handle, or if you have a PVC pipe, a cane, just something that's fairly long and it's sturdy. It's not going to bend or move as you're using it. We're not going to be applying a lot of weight, but we want to make sure that the pole we're using is sturdy. So we're going to be sitting down for this. And what we're going to do is have just one hand moving the rod, and the other hand is just kind of resting on top. Relax. Again, just like we did with that arm hang, one arm is just relaxed, kind of maybe flopping the hand on top, or even just hanging the wrist over, just making sure that arm that's over is relaxed, and this hand is going to be doing all the work. So again, we're just going to raise that arm as high as we can, almost until the point where you feel there's that wall there, just letting it go to that point, and then slowly lowering it back down. And what this does is it kind of works out those tight areas that we feel. We'll feel like there's that wall, and if we eventually work through that motion, it's going to work out those sticky points. So again, just bringing up that hand, slow and controlled movements. We don't want to do fast, quick movements. We want to really control the movement, going up as high as we can and down. Again, this hand is relaxed, just like it's just a puppet. Like this hand is moving the other hand up and down. You want to do about 15 to 20 of these, slow and controlled, making sure we're doing both sides. So again, just switch hands. This hand is now the active hand, and this hand is relaxed on that broom, cane, or PVC pipe. Again, just lifting up. You want to keep a slight bend in that elbow, but not to the point where it's completely bent. Just a slight bend, just letting that arm relax. Again, that arm is like jello. It's just along for the ride. And again, what this is doing is it's just working through those tight areas, working out all those tight muscles that are giving us that limited mobility. And then we'll relax, and we'll use the rod again. What we're going to do with this is we're going to work through that external rotation, so the motion where we're coming out. So with this, if you have a fairly sharp or not soft edge, I would suggest using a towel or something soft on the end of it for your hand. And what you're going to do is just using the other hand, you're going to slowly push that hand as far out as you can, making sure the elbow stays by the side. The elbow does not travel with the arm, because you want to make sure the forearm is the only part that's moving. Again, just working through those sticky points, getting as much rotation in that shoulder as we can, and then coming back. There's minimal resistance. You're not forcing against the broom, the handle here. You're just kind of keeping it just tight enough to keep that shape. And just using the other hand to push that shoulder out. And you'll feel, again, there's that wall. Just push to that point and then relax back. And then again, just trying to break past that wall slowly. You don't want to be forcing it really quick, because then it'll pull that rotator cuff. We want to stretch it and not injure it. And with our shoulders, we want to make sure the shoulders aren't hiked up to the ears. We want them back and down, like relax, almost as if you're trying to tuck those shoulder blades in your back pocket. That's going to keep that shoulder in the best possible position and really try to work out that rotation there. Same thing on the other side. Again, keeping those elbows tight, because you'll feel if that elbow is tight, it's going to get a lot more activation in that rotator cuff. And again, using the other hand to push out, really feeling that tightness in that rotator cuff, and then coming back. And if you're having issues with that shoulder staying stationary, you can use your towel and just tuck it underneath your armpit and try to keep that towel there the whole time, because you'll feel as soon as that elbow comes out, that towel drops. You want to keep that towel close into the side, and that's that kind of mind-muscle connection where you're keeping that elbow right to the side, keeping that towel there, and you're slowly pushing that hand out as far as we can, and then back to the middle, and then relax. So we're gonna hit the floor for this next stretch. We're gonna work that internal rotation again. We're just gonna take it in a different shape. So this stretch is called a sleeper stretch. So perfectly so, if you wanna grab a pillow for your head, we can use that for that little bit of extra neck support. So with this, we're starting with the arm that's on below us, out in front of us. The elbow is in line with the shoulder, and the forearm is straight up as if you're trying to touch those fingertips to the ceiling. Keeping that hand straight, that's gonna be our lever. And what we're gonna do is press right against that wrist and keep trying to press that palm down to the floor, making sure the shoulder stays in line and that top part of the arm stays right against the floor. We want that anchor point just like before. We're just gonna slowly press down, trying to get that palm to the floor, and you will feel that wall. Almost like you can't go any further, just hang in that shape, taking those few breaths, relaxing those fibers. And we're holding this for, just like all the other ones, 30 seconds, and then letting it back up slowly, and then going to the floor, getting full range all the way back, and then pressing forward. Seconds, and then back up, and then of course we repeat the same on the other side because we want to make sure we're even. So we're going to take the opposite form rotation. So instead of the internal rotation, now we're going to try that external rotation in a different shape. So with this, we're lying flat on our stomachs, and now the arm is in front of us with that same shape. Elbow is in line with that shoulder. It's not hanging way out here. We want it in line with that shoulder. And with this, we're gonna do the same thing, except we're pushing the opposite direction. So now we're pushing underneath the arm, where we're just slowly, maybe even pressing on top of the hand, and just keeping that stiff shape, working that external rotation, trying to get the back of the hand to the floor now. And making sure we're not just rolling the body with that arm, because then we lose all that stretch. We want to make sure both the hips are staying flat on the floor, and we're just slowly pressing down on that shoulder. Okay, taking those couple breaths to hang in that shape for 30 seconds, and then returning back to the middle. Then try to continue that shape a little more, and then back to the middle. So our next stretching tool is we're going to use our towel, which is rolled up into a strict bundle. And whatever hand you're not stretching, so it doesn't matter which one you start with because we're going to do both. You're going to throw that the towel over that shoulder. And what you're going to do is use the opposite hand to grab that towel with the palms facing backwards. So you're in this shape. And with the hand that's on top, you're just gonna pull up, trying to bring that hand higher. Really feeling that stretch in the shoulder. And then relaxing and holding this shape for 30 seconds. Trying to get that hand as high as you can, not forcing it quickly, just to the point where we feel that wall. And then we're coming back down. And then trying to get that elbow, as far behind you as you can, and just pulling up on that hand. Making sure both hands are grabbing that towel fairly tightly, and just pulling that towel higher and higher, and we'll relax. And then we'll switch sides. So again, now we're switching to opposite shoulder. So we just do this one. So now, sorry, we're gonna do this side. So again, grabbing the, wrong side here. We're gonna flip other side this time. And we're gonna grab the towel, same position, just trying to start with the hands as close as you can get them. Getting that elbow tight at the sides if we can. Just finding that shape that's comfortable. And then we're just gonna bring that towel up. And as you can see, one side is not as mobile and fluid as the other. That's okay, that just means that side needs a little more TLC. And then we'll relax that hand in just 30 seconds. Rest, taking big inhales. We're not holding our breath the whole time. We want to let the breath continue to flow and allow those muscles to loosen up. And then back down. And try to creep up that towel just a little bit more. Pulling upwards with that towel. And then relax again. 3 sets of these, 30 seconds each side, will help loosen up that shoulder joint and allow that rotator cuff to move a little more. So our next stretch, we're going to use the wall behind us, or if you're not able to get to a wall, a large surface that you can press your hands against. So with this, we're going to get into a wide push-up shape, trying to step about 1.5 foot, if not more, away from the wall to give that really deep angle. So we're just like we're leaning up against the wall like so, and we're just gonna lower the body as low as we can, really forcing and try to get the chest to that wall. And what that does, that's gonna help open up that chest and stretch the shoulders as well. Getting that chest open is gonna allow that shoulder girdle to move a lot more. So we're just like we see in all those cop movies with the guys being arrested, their hands are up against the wall. So we're just trying to mimic that rule. So we're trying to get the hands a little higher than the shoulders, fairly wide, and we're just leaning into that wall, stretching out the shoulders as well as the chest. You're holding this for 30 seconds, and if for some reason you're not able to stand in this shape, we can do the similar shape on our knees. So we're out about 45 degrees away from the wall, hands a little higher than shoulders, and we're just leaning into that wall. Allowing the chest to stretch, getting those shoulder blades all the way squeezed back, opening up that chest. And then back to the middle. And then playing around with the angle too. If you need to have your hands a little wider for more of a stretch, that's totally fine. We just want to start hands wider than shoulder width. I'm trying to lower that body down past the shoulders. And then we're going to relax. I'm going to fix this so it doesn't fall in there. So the last stretch we're going to do is a yoga focused stretch. This is called child's pose. This is really good for stretching out the shoulders, the lats, the chest, a little bit of everything that involves in with that shoulder. So we're starting on our knees, then we're going to just drop to the floor, getting those elbows right to the floor, and then we're just going to lower the body backwards and try to reach out those arms forward. Getting into that shape, and maybe even getting a slight bend in the elbows, and you may need to adjust your legs. So we're here, and then we can adjust that shape by getting the hands up and touching together. Getting as low as we can. This is really good for stretching those lats as well as the shoulders. And it's going to allow a lot more movement in the shoulder. And again, playing with the hands, and we're getting them behind the head for a little tricep stretch as well. We're trying to just reach out a little farther and lower the body a little more. We're holding this for 30 seconds, and then we're going to relax. Again, not saying you have to use every single one of these stretches, just find the ones that work best for you and you feel the most bang for your buck. For some you may feel do okay of a movement and relieving some of that tension, others you may feel are more beneficial. Take the ones that work for you. That's the part of the fun of finding like your wellness practice, is finding what works for you. Thanks again for tuning in, guys. Be safe, be kind, and choose to be well. Take care.